Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. TheSketchMonkey here. Today we're gonna have a look at the car that is rarer than a Ferrari, and this is of course the Toyota GR Corolla, but not your average GR Corolla. This is the MORIZO edition, which Akio Toyoda himself was a big part in developing this thing. The MORIZO name itself, it's the nickname for Mr. Toyota when he goes racing. So this is a very, very special car. They're only building 200 of them, which I think is a shame. But what we're gonna do in this video, we're gonna have a look at the front, side, and rear, the interior. Unfortunately, we can't take this for a drive because it only has 30 miles on it. It's probably going to some collector's collection somewhere, but that means that we can take a more of a deep dive into this design and have a look at what's going on here. I'm also going to do a couple of redesigns here in the front end, maybe in the rear as well. We're going to think about that when we get to that point. Huge thanks to Urban Motors in Denver for letting me review this GR Corolla MORIZO edition today. I'm going to link the full inventory, including this car, down in the description. Let's start with the front end design of the GR Corolla MORIZO edition. You have this big grille in the front end, and I'm used to say that I don't understand why the Yaris needs to look so aggressive and angry, but in this case we have an inline 3 under the hood. Doesn't sound very impressive, but it houses 300 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque, connected to a manual transmission with all-wheel drive. So this is a proper rally setup. So this styling that we have here going on, this aggressive styling, it actually suits this type of car, even though it is a small hatchback. Let's have a look and go into detail on this front end. This entire grille, everything in here is functional. There are no fake vents on the front of the GR Corolla. You also have a couple of vents up here right next to this beautiful big logo in the center, and you have functional air vents on the sides with these rally inspired fog lights right here. I've always said that this is one of the even when I first saw the normal hatchback of the Corolla, I think it's one of the best looking small hatchbacks out there, because have a look at the line flow. It feels like everything is pointing towards this center logo, and it creates a very nice and tight looking front end. And then of course you have this big bulge on the hood with the functional air outlets up top. I also love the graphics of this car. It's a beautiful dynamic headlight with the daytime running light going all the way close into the emblem of the front end. But there is a couple of things here that I want to redesign and just tweak a little bit in the front end. For example, you see this line of the grille going right here into this corner here. What I would like to do is just cut this corner out, have this line continue down to this chamfer here, and have one continuous line with an angle going down here into this corner. So change that a little bit. Another detail I want to change is if you look at these intakes here, the side intakes in the corners, I want to have them be a little bit more dynamic. That meaning I want to cut it out to be a little more in an angle like this, and not have it be like a static rectangle like we have now. Just add a bit of angle to this part right here. In combination with this angle, it's kind of gonna play well together. We have one angle going this way, the other one here going the opposite way, creating some more dynamic movement of the car pointing downwards. Now, coming around to the side view of the GR Corolla, and this is where things get a little crazy with the wide body kit that we have in the front and rear fenders. But what I love about this specific wide body kit is just how well integrated it is with the rest of the lines and the design of the original Corolla hatchback. For example, have a look at this. You have the line for the shoulder line going through the doors and into this functional outlet, air outlet that we have right here, beautifully done in gloss black. And then we have this at the rear. Look at the shoulder line, this beautiful line that goes over the rear axle. And have a look at the curvature of this, and then look at the curvature of this body line right here. It's almost the exact mirrored line that we have in the original hatchback of the Corolla, mirrored in the body kit itself. It feels like Toyota really took this serious, and they put a lot of effort into designing this body kit to be a part of the already existing design. Can we just take a minute to appreciate the design of these forged wheels, 18-inch wheels that we have on the GR Corolla MORIZO? It's just a stunning design. This is the type of wheels that I love. When you have simple spokes being a little thicker at the base center, close to the center, and then they become narrower and narrower and thinner as further out they go, and they don't feel like they're entirely black. It feels like they have some gray in it, which is gonna reflect the light a little more so you can actually see the design of this thing. And these wheels are very special because you have all these stamps into it. BBS, made in Japan, forged, and then you have the Toyota Gazoo Racing stamped into the wheel itself right here, in contrast with this GR red caliper. It's just a beautiful touch. Another very cool and unique detail of the GR Corolla MORIZO edition is this forged carbon fiber roof on a Corolla hatchback. And of course they put it up here because they want to reduce the weight of this car and bring the center of gravity down. When we look at the interior, you're going to see that there is no rear seat in this MORIZO edition. They completely deleted it to additionally save some more weight. I want to move it down, further down the body line into this gorgeous line at the bottom, but down all the way to this side skirt, and how aggressive it is, and also how well integrated it is in the rest of this bodywork, this wide body kit. It's such a well-designed wide body kit. Have a look at this line, for example. This line continues. They added a little bit of a line into the wide body piece to just have the same connection to the rest of the body. And then down here at this side skirt, we have this GR4 stamped into the side skirt. You might wonder what that means. That stands for Gazoo Racing 4 standing for all-wheel drive. And this is not something that just came up with. It's been around for a while. On the old Celicas, they also had something like that on their bodies. Coming around to the rear end of the GR Corolla, same thing, it has very similar shapes and lines as we have in the front end. For example, have a look at this logo in the middle and how all the lines are pointing towards the logo in the center. I think it's just a beautiful touch, and again, it creates a very sharp looking tail end. And these taillights also has the same kind of vibe or styling to them like we have in the front end of the car. And look down here, this is one of my favorite pieces of the GR Corolla. This exhaust situation that we have here with two exhausts on each side, but then they decided to go a little more crazy than that and add an oval exhaust right there in the middle. And what I love about this rear end as well as in the front is that everything back here is functional. And just have a look at this stance of this thing with these wide fenders. I think it adds so much to the plantedness of this car, as it should, since it is a proper wide body kit on this Corolla. And then we have these outlets here. These are actually functional air outlets in the diffuser, in the bumper itself. Diffuser looks very good with these fins, super aggressive, again, coming back to that rally-inspired feel of the GR Corolla. Now, when Akio Toyota and the design team were designing this car, they said they wanted to reduce the weight as much as possible. And in my opinion, they shouldn't have done it in one specific detail, and that is the wing. I think this top spoiler, it looks great. It's pretty substantial. I mean, it's nothing crazy going on about it, but I would love to see the Circuit Edition wing on the MORIZO edition, because we have so much going on down here with the exhaust pipes, the diffuser, the lines, the bodywork, that the top feels a little, unbalanced when you look at the lower part compared to the top part. So I think we need the Circuit wing up there to balance out everything that goes on down here and have the same kind of vibe up top. Welcome to the interior of this proper rally hatch that is the GR Corolla, and in here it feels like it is so driver focused. Yes, we do have a screen that looks, decently integrated because it doesn't sit on top of the dash. It sits a little lower, so this line cuts right through the middle of it. Sits a little lower. Then we have some proper vents here, very easy to use, and thankfully we have manual or physical buttons for the dials for the climate control and the vents and all of that you need. But moving further down here, we have some wireless charging right here underneath the dash, and we have a USB port, USB-C right here. But this is what I'm talking about. These shift some of the tightest shifts I've ever felt in a manual car. It feels so precise, and the gears slot exactly in where you want them to go. And on top here you have the GR, and you have some almost looks like brushed aluminum, and the MORIZO signature up here on the knob itself. And you can see the red stitching that is specific for the MORIZO edition. You have these gorgeous Recaro seats with the red stitching on the side and the GR logo right here in the headrest. And they actually removed the entire armrest, again, to save as much weight as possible. The screen, the gauge cluster is all digital. I think it looks good because, again, we have a nice housing for it with a dual frame. You have this top cap up top, then you have a second framing going around the gauge cluster, creating a more of a quality feel than if we were to just have a screen there. And you also have a proper glove box, just like you have in any Corolla, and vents on the sides as well as in the middle. And have a look at the steering wheel. This is not a steering wheel that you'll find in your average Corolla hatchback. This is Alcantara or suede wrapped with the red stitching going on the inside. It's super small. And I wish I could take this for a drive because it feels like such a fun car to drive with the 300 horsepower and the manual transmission. And in addition to that, the all-wheel drive for traction. I think it's a perfect driver's car. Looking up top, of course, we can't have a sunroof in this car. It wouldn't make sense at all, specifically since we have a forged carbon fiber roof. I'd much rather have a forged carbon fiber roof than a sunroof up there. And again, the back seat is just a couple of bars back here. That's about it. There are no way anybody can sit back there because there simply are no seats, again, to save a lot of weight. And I think that's the right way to do it. You can put some cargo back there if you want to. And I really think it's too bad that they're just building 200 of these, because I think we need more cars like this. The base price for the GR Corolla MORIZO edition is $51,000, but good luck finding a GR Corolla MORIZO for 50 grand right now, because they've all been sold. They only made 200 of them, and this specific one only has 30 miles on the clock, so it's essentially brand new. In the center stack here, in addition to the wireless charging, you have the little knob here for the drive modes, and you have this dial, which I believe is for how much power you want going to each wheel or each axle. You also have a limited slip diff in the back. And with that said, let's fire this little rocket up and let's see what that 1.6 liter 3-cylinder actually sounds like. And there you have it. That's my review of the GR Corolla MORIZO edition. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you, and thanks to Urban Motors again for letting me review this car. If you enjoyed this type of videos, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.